Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk about what are the things you need to know if you want to be a data scientist in year 2024. Okay, so the first thing we need to focus on is programming skills. So there are three main programming languages: Python, R, and SQL. Now, Python is the most popular language and is required by most companies, and this is what I suggest you to learn for a script programming language. R can be helpful if you're going to do some statistical advanced calculations, but usually you don't have to use it. There are some packages and modules in Python that already do most of this stuff, so there's no real need to go into R unless there are very specific things there that Python doesn't have. For SQL, you obviously have to know SQL when you deal with databases. If you need to pull some data from the company's database, or maybe you need to push some results and maybe create some new tables, new databases, and so on and so on. So it's a must. You need to know how to manipulate the databases, how to aggregate tables, window functions, and so on. So this is a must. Now, for the statistics and mathematics, for statistics, you will usually use mostly basics and descriptive statistics such as mean, median, mode, quantiles, variance and deviation, and so on. But you'll also maybe use some hypothesis testing, parametric tests such as t-test, z-test, and so on, or non-parametric tests when the distribution may not be normal, such as Kruskal values, and so on. So this is for the statistics. So it mostly be descriptive statistics and maybe more such as inference statistics. It really depends on the company you're going to work at. Usually like medical companies will require more statistical calculations and maybe some statistical tests will be involved. And there will be some other companies, maybe some cybersecurity companies, maybe you would use less, but it really depends on the company. In terms for linear algebra, you have to know the fundamentals such as matrix operations, vector operations, matrix operations, and so on, because it's used for many models, for deep learning and so on. And also the calculus differentiations will be used a lot in deep learning. And this is for the statistics and mathematics, so you have to know these basics. These are the fundamentals. And for data manipulation analysis, okay, we have two main packages, which are the bread and butter for data analysis, which are pandas and numpy. You would use it for data manipulation, creating data frames and tables. And yeah, so it's very necessary. You will use it on your daily basis. For data visualization in Python, you will use Matplotlib, Seaborn, and Plotly. Probably using for mostly in the parts where you'll have EDA, exploratory data analysis. You will plot several things such as distribution of the variables and so on. So that's stuff you have to know. And machine learning, you will have two main modules that you should know, which are scikit-learn and stat models. Scikit-learn is like the general go-to package in regards for machine learning. You have everything for models, like creating models, evaluate models, everything. Like pre-processing, you have it in scikit-learn, so it's a very important module that really eases things up. So you have to know it. And you have stats models, which is a bit similar to R. R software, where you can get more information, mostly on linear regression, not linear regression, regressions in general. You can also build other types of regression, not just the usual ones, such as logistic regression and linear regression. You have other sorts of regressions, such as exponential regression and Poisson regression, and so on. And it gives you more information on the regression. It's more inference. So it's important for you to know that it exists, because you may need it. And you also need to know the theory of machine learning, for regressions, of course, which will be the basis for the deep learning. You also need to know some tree models, ensembles and so on. So you have to know the theory behind this. And also clustering comes in there. So yeah, you have to know the theory and to understand it. And after you're done with this, we can go to the more advanced topics, which are the deep learning fundamentals, such as fully connected layers, RNN, LSTM, CNN, which is the fundamentals for deep learning. And then you can go to, you can choose to learn like more big data technologies, like handling big data sets with Apache Spark, or maybe go with a cloud, such as AWS or Azure, and work on the cloud just to get a feeling. And also you will have to use, usually in the workplaces, you'll have to use some sort of cloud environment, most of the time, I would say. So yeah, it's very good to know how to use the cloud. In NLP, we can talk about transformers and BERT and the more advanced NLP things after you learn RNN and LSTM. So it's very, very, it is like the next step after RNN and LSTM, transformers with handling text and other type of things. And once you know transformers, you can go to LLMs, which is like, it's also like large language models. So it's the next natural thing to do. But I just wrote it in the generative AI where you have LLMs, GANs, and so on. But yeah, after you know transformers, you can go to LLMs if this is what interests you, and it's very, very popular right now. And yes, and then we have a GNN, Geometrical Neural Network, which is also something that's catching up with quick in the recent years. So it's good to know, or at least understand what it's used for. And we have reinforcement learning and causal AI, which also, like GNN, is catching up really good. It's getting more popular in the last years, and you have more books and more audience with this. So it's good to know about it. And so yeah, I would say for the advanced topics, of course, the first thing you have to go to is know deep learning and know the how to use the cloud to be more employable. And then transformers would be the next step, and then LLMs if you're interested in this. But I would say that everyone is going into generative AI in some way or another, and it will be more and more popular in the next 5-10 years. So it's the next thing you should do. And GNN, reinforcement learning, causal AI, it's good to know, at least on some level, at least very high level, just to understand. And if the work requires you to know it more, so yeah, you should consider learning it more in depth. But yeah, that's it for the advanced topics. And then we have the soft skills, which is obvious for a data scientist, where you have to know how to communicate with technical and non-technical audience. You really have to perhaps create a different presentation for each type of audience, use different visualizations, and so on. So it's very, very good to understand how to work with. I would suggest learning from other experts and other information out there in the web. So yeah. And extras, I would say, like extra things you should learn would be Streamlit, which is web app creation, which can help you already create products from the models that you use already, from the machine learning models or deep learning, and that will help you already show to some employers, like potential employers, to show that you what type of projects you already did. So you know, it's always nice to show employers or companies models in Jupyter Notebook or something like this. But if you can create a web app, an actual web app, and show your model there and let them use it, it's much, much better, and it will make them be more impressed, and then your chances of getting employed are higher. So think about Streamlit for production and prototyping, and also Streamlit is used in the company itself, in the environment. If you want to create a small web app for a manager to understand what's going on, so it's also a nice thing to do. And also learn how to use APIs, which APIs, there's so many APIs now where you can connect to and pull data and use it and get some calls and posts and gets. It's very, very important to know. And this would be, I would say, in the extra once you finish most of this list here. So if you have any more questions, please let me know.